Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I worship Your holy name. The sun comes up, it's a new day dawning. It's time to sing Your song again. Whatever may pass and whatever lies before me, let me be singing when the evening comes. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. You're rich in love and You're slow to anger. Your name is great and Your heart is kind. For all Your goodness I will keep on singing. 10,000 reasons for my heart to find. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. And on that day when my strength is failing, the end draws near and my time has come, still my soul will sing Your praise unending. 10,000 years and then forevermore. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. Bless the Lord, oh my soul, oh my soul. Worship His holy name. Sing like never before, oh my soul. I'll worship Your holy name. Yes, I will worship Your holy name. Lord, I'll worship Your holy name.
Hi everyone and welcome to another Sunday Reflection. This evening we are joined by a really good friend of mine, Rebecca, who you can see here. And next week I want to introduce you to another friend called Sam Hodson. Sam and Rebecca are both young people that I have had the privilege of journeying with for a few years of their life. And Sam went on to do theology at Oxford, and Rebecca has gone on to study theology at two different places, because you were in one place but then they all moved. I'll let you tell us about that. But I'm just so encouraged to share what they've been learning over the last few months with you. When you look back of their story and how much they've grown, I've known both of them since they were, I think I've known you, Rebecca, since you were 10.
think so.
Maybe, yeah. And I think I've known Sam since he was about 12. And so to see them just really grow in faith and just to love Jesus and just run for him, it's just so exciting and encouraging. So I'm going to introduce Rebecca to you this week, and Rebecca's going to do our thought for us in a little later on. But Rebecca, so we talked about your studying. It's not that I've forgotten, but you have moved places. So tell us where work is and what you're studying, and yeah, what that looks like.
Yeah, so I'm the youth leader of Worcester Baptist Church. I'm going into my 3rd year of youth community and a theology degree. So I started off at Nottingham with CYM, and now they're taking the big move to Leicester, which will be from September. So yeah.
And is that online from September, or are you still?
Some of it will be online and some of it's going to be in person, which will be an exciting kind of transition.
Brilliant. And I've heard through the grapevine that you've been getting some amazing results. So well done.
My 2nd year with a first.
Brilliant. Super proud of you. Rebecca, tell us what I'm more proud about really is your faith in Jesus and your love for him, and how I've seen that grow. And life for you hasn't always been easy, but your faith in God has just gone from strength to strength. So tell us a bit about maybe what Jesus means to you.
Yeah, I was brought up in a Christian home, went to church all my life really, and so church and Jesus and God was never kind of a subject that I massively questioned. I just kind of was brought up with it. But through my teenage years, when I kind of began to struggle at school and with mental health, then Jesus was a real stronghold for me, something that I could return to and just always count on. And I just always knew that Jesus had grace for me, which was, I think, is the most important thing for me, keeping on returning to Jesus for that grace and forgiveness and friendship and comfort.
Brilliant. Well, so lovely to hear and so encouraging, and I'm sure for many of us will just bring us a real sense of peace. I think during lockdown life has been really tough, and many of us have found, particularly here in Upton, that we have really found the presence of God in our homes, which we know has always been there, but when home is the only place you can go, to know that Jesus is there and he's for you, and even when you can't see other people, particularly for those people who live alone, to know that God is with you, he's by your side, and he has you this amazing love for you, and he brings comfort and peace. So just to hear your testimony to that is amazing. Talking of lockdown, what's the one thing, if you can pick one thing, what's the one thing that God has either taught you or shown you afresh in lockdown?
Yeah, I think probably the main thing is I've just felt really equipped and been given all the tools that I need to do my job. Youth ministry is something that I've known I've wanted to do since I was about 12 or 13. And it's something, especially over lockdown, I haven't felt out of my depth with. There's been other things that have been a struggle, kind of like you said, living on my own, and other things that everyone's been facing through the lockdown. But with my job, with ministering to the young people and connecting with them and doing techie stuff of meeting with them on Zoom, it's just kind of a sense of peace in that I know that I'm doing well, and I know that God's got this, and the bigger picture that actually God's doing well. It's not me that's doing it, it's God's power. Yeah, just feel really equipped.
Brilliant. It's great to hear. So you're going to do our thought for us this week. So just give us a teaser. What's the theme that we're going to be hearing about in just a minute's time?
Looking at whether we are attracted to kind of familiarity and the comfort that we get from that, and actually that God is our main comfort.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to hand over to you now, and we're really looking forward to hearing from God through you. Thanks, Rebecca, for joining us. God bless you.
I've been thinking recently about how comforting familiarity can be. Are we drawn to it? Are we instinctively attracted to it? I used to live in a small town on the coast of Kent called Deal, and I lived there for the first 5 years of my life, and I've been returning for the last 15 years, once or twice a year. It's so familiar to me. I know it like the back of my hand, as they say. I know that the best place for an ice cream is the beach parlour. I know all the back streets behind the seafront, all the pastel-coloured houses. I know where I used to live and the school I used to go to. I know the high street, and my granny frequently updates us on which shops have gone and which shops they've been replaced by. I know the seafront well, the best place on the beach. I know the statue called Embracing the Sea well, and I know the pier well. It's familiar to me. Recently, I took a bit of a holiday, I took a break. I'm not very good at resting. I looked at different places that I could go to. I looked at Devon, the Lake District, Norfolk, Scotland. Wanted somewhere reasonably nearby, but somewhere new. And as I was looking, I thought, this looks good, this will be a good adventure, maybe I could go here. But I was still drawn to Deal. I was drawn to Kent. I was drawn to this place of familiarity where I could still explore, but I'd be comfortable. My favourite TV show is Friends. I don't know whether you've ever caught an episode of it. It's an American sitcom, broadcasted 10 seasons between the years of 1994 and 2004. Now available on many different streaming sites, a whole new generation, me, tuning in to watch it. The storylines are somewhat problematic now in 2020, but still I return to this TV show because it's familiar to me and it's comforting. When I'm having a bit of a break, I want to unwind, Friends is the TV show that I switch on. When I can't sleep in the early hours of the morning, I switch on Friends, just a 20-minute episode, and then I'm able to sleep again, I find. There's this familiarity that I find comforting. I know it so well. I've been watching it for so many years that I know all of the storylines and I know all of the scripts. I'm even pretty good at, if you test me some kind of trivia questions, it's familiar to me and I find it comforting to be able to switch it on and to be able to watch something and consume something that I know so well and that's familiar to me. I wonder whether you can think of a comforting familiarity for yourself. Perhaps it's a place that you visited and you just love to return to. A recent piece of research showed that 70% of Brits like to holiday somewhere that they've been before. 70% of us like to go somewhere that we've been before. That familiarity is a comfort to us. Maybe it's a thing. Maybe it's something that you can hold, an object, something that's tangible. Maybe it's a TV show. The same piece of research found that 80% of us like returning to the same genre of books, TV or film, which is understandable really. We're people of routine. We like to know what we enjoy to consume. We like to watch the same things, be entertained by the same things. We do the same as little children, don't we? When we're little kids, we like the same books read to us. We're creatures of habit. Maybe your comforting familiarity is your home, the place that you live, the place that you've made to be your own. That's where you find your comfort, that's where you're safe. Maybe it's a piece of clothing. I have a big yellow sweater that's a few sizes too big, and a blanket-like poncho that I wear when I'm in need of comfort. Maybe for you, it's a person. People can often find, we can often find people very safe and comforting. I think these comforting familiarities can change, as we grow as people. Through my teens, that place was the church that I grew up in. The youth room was a comforting familiarity to me. I knew where everything was. It was a safe space away from the outside world. It was like a second home to me. I had friends that were like family. I was comfortable. It was my safe familiarity, my comfort. I think that we can use the Bible as a comforting familiarity. Now, I use the word use lightly. I don't mean it in a transactional way, or that we can use God when we need him and only when we need him, not in the times where things are happy and easy and we don't need comfort so much. And I don't mean cherry picking verses out of context to suit us. But I mean really praying into the word before we pick up our Bibles. Praying that God would nudge us, praying over specific phrases and themes and studying it, and that it would bring us comfort. One of the great things about the Word and the Spirit working together is that we could read it over and over and over multiple times, and still we get different things from it, still we get nudged in different ways. I remember when I was about 13 or 14, I was in a bit of a muddle, and I asked Amy for advice. Amy was my youth minister. And she suggested that I read the Bible, and I probably grumpily said, I've read it already. And she said, all of it? That's the great thing about the Bible. The more that we read it, the more we can get from it. Even if you've read it cover to cover, which I hadn't. There's always something to reread that you might get something new from. You'll be nudged in a different way, in a different direction. Whilst new verses can bring us comfort, I think there's also power in holding tight the verses that God's already spoken to us through and repeating them like a motto or a mantra. Perhaps that's the Lord's Prayer. I don't know about you, but through this time of uncertainty, through the COVID-19 pandemic, my prayer life has really changed. Sometimes I just haven't known what to pray, and that's where I found the Lord's Prayer really, really useful. Jesus said, "But when you pray, go into your room, close the door and pray to your Father who is unseen. Then your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you. And when you pray, do not keep on babbling like the pagans, for they will be heard because of their many words. Do not be like them, for your Father knows what you need before you ask him. This, then, is how you should pray. Our Father in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come, your will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us today our daily bread, and forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us. Lead us not in temptation, but deliver us from evil." That prayer is something that you could start and end your day with. It will become this familiarity that will bring you comfort. Or maybe you can find a familiar comfort in a psalm. For many, they return to Psalm 23 because of its themes of comfort and protection. Let me read it to you. It says, "The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right paths for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil. For you are with me, and your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil. My cup overflows. Surely your goodness and your love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The Lord is my shepherd." Even just that phrase can bring so much comfort. In Hebrew, the word for shepherd also means friend. This passage isn't just talking about any shepherd, these modern day shepherds. I don't know what your idea of a shepherd is. But it's the same sort of shepherd that's referred to in Luke 15 when Jesus is teaching parables and he talks about the lost sheep. This shepherd who has 99 sheep and one goes missing, so he searches and searches and searches until that sheep is found, and then he carries the sheep over his shoulder and returns him home in celebration. The good shepherd rescues and searches. David, the author of this psalm, says that this good shepherd leads him to green pastures, quiet waters, and refreshes his soul. What an image. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no evil, because your rod and staff comfort me. God's presence, even through the darkest time, is a comfort to us. You prepare a table before me, you feed me, you give me what I need, what you know I need. You anoint my head with oil, you make me yours. Surely goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life. What a comfort, goodness and love, not earthly goodness and love that sometimes fails us, that sometimes falls through, that one day will fade, but true, perfect goodness and love. I will dwell in the house forever, the house of the Lord forever, not just live, but dwell. What a comfort. See, there's the thing. I said earlier that our comforting familiarity changes what we do. I used to find so much comfort in the youth room that I would spend countless hours through my teens, but that's changed now that I've changed. One day Deal might not feel like my home anymore. One day I might eventually get bored of friends. One day I might eventually lose my favourite piece of clothing. These earthly things will fade. There's a song that I used to love when I was little. It was on a CD by Vineyard Kids. And the lyrics to the song went like this. Muscles, cars and movie stars, winter snow and summer skies. All of these will fade and die, but God's love lasts. You may want to be a millionaire or dance with elegance and air, but you'll grow old and lose your hair, but God's love lasts. All these comforting familiarities that we've talked about today will one day fade, but God, the bringer of comfort, will walk with us, be with us, love us, will be in relationship with us all the days of our lives. He's the familiar comfort that we can rely on, that won't fade, that's the strongest.
The Lord's my shepherd, I'll not want. He makes me lie in pastures green. He leads me by the still, still waters. His goodness restores my soul, and I will trust in you alone, and I will trust in you alone. For your endless mercy follows me, your goodness will lead me home. He guides my ways in righteousness, and he anoints my head with oil, and my cup it overflows with joy. I feast on his pure delights, and I will trust in you alone, and I will trust in you alone. For your endless mercy follows me, your goodness will lead me home. And though I walk the darkest path, I will not fear the evil one, for you are with me, and your rod and staff are the comfort I need to know. And I will trust